Good morning, John.
Good morning, Clarissa.
How are you?
I'm doing fine here in isolation.
Yes, that's right. Right. We have such fancy backgrounds, right?
Right,
Yeah.
yes.
So thanks so much for coming on the Oasis show this morning. And I'm a big fan of the Greater Moncton Chamber of Commerce, or the Moncton Chamber of Commerce, as it's called now, and really big supporters and have attended a lot of your events. And I've been watching what you guys have been doing in the face of, this whole recovery plan. So tell us a little bit how you've had to pivot in the last, 8 or 9 weeks, and take us back to that time when you thought, what are we going to do?
Sure. So I remember the day that we decided we had to close the office, and I think we closed the office a day or two before the first state of emergency order was handed down in mid-March. And my immediate concerns probably were around making sure all the employees were safe and we could all work from home and remotely and get done what needed to get done. And I was actually talking to somebody on another call last week who said, I bet if people had measured their productivity this 6-week period in isolation, I think productivity has actually gone up for a lot of people. So,
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So that was the first thing. The second thing, we generate around 30% of our revenue each year through events. Obviously, that is in serious jeopardy now since we can't gather in mass gatherings. So we started to think, how do we have a business excellence awards? How do we, a golf tournament, all those things that chambers normally have. So we put a couple of team members on that. We decided to, our membership sales guy, we said, Ben, just hold off. Don't be calling anybody right now. It's not the time. And we actually gave our members who came up for renewal in April a free month. We didn't ask for cash. We did reach out in May, but we've given a bunch of options for payment to help sort of ease the cash flow. And so that really left the thing that we were focusing on, communication and advocacy. And that's really what has been the focus of the organization for the last 2 months.
Yeah. And I agree with you. And you talk about productivity and I wish that I had kept track as well. And we have this handy little tool in our email now with insights that we can do, but it's a different way to work, and it's shifting, it's shifting to that. And, I actually said to someone the other day, after 9 weeks of doing this, when people go back to the office, they're going to have a hard time shifting back. Right?
Yeah, the rhythm of your daily work has changed, and so it will be interesting to see, how much gets done and when and how.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump from there, and let's talk a little bit about the virtual events that you've been holding, because I know I've attended several of them. You made that pivot really quickly. How important was it to kind of move that to an online platform and still get the information out?
Yeah, I really was born out of this focus on communication and advocacy. We thought, more than at any other time that we could remember, it was important that we continued to communicate with our members and the business community as a whole. So, we immediately adopted Zoom as a platform that allowed us to do that. And, we just kind of responded to the needs of our members who were telling us, look, I need help with this, or I wish I knew the answer to that. So then we started reaching out, lining up experts in those areas, organizing the Zooms, promoting them. And I think we've done, close to 15 now on various topics, roughly about 2 a week. And, attendance has been anywhere from 30 to some to today. We had a town hall here that had 200. So,
wow.
It's I think there's still a thirst for knowledge and information in a lot of areas.
Yeah. And I want to commend you because, as a chamber, so many things, have a price tag to it. We pay tickets to come to the events, and you do rely on that, for, to maintain your programs. But you chose to put these events on free of charge. Yeah. What made you decide to do that?
Yeah, I think we thought we should lead a little bit by example. When businesses were really hit with cash flow issues, why should we be going out and asking them to pay to get the advice they need to keep their business going? So we said, let's just not include a price tag in any of those Zoom webinars. And I mean, eventually at some point, if we're forced to have events for the rest of the year this way, maybe we'll have to package some so that some continue to be free, and then you get like elite status for certain other ones with a carry a small price tag. We, you know, we're going to have to learn how to monetize what we do eventually, but now's not that time. We're still in like helping mode.
Yeah, and I agree, and you know, it'll all come with, you know, as we move forward into this, I don't like the phrase new normal, but into this, you know, new world that we're moving ahead with. So let's talk a little bit about something that you've really, you know, took leadership in, which is the Southwest Economic Recovery Task Force. What is your role, you know, as executive director of the chamber, but the chamber as a whole? What's your role in that task force?
Sure. So we we're talking almost on a daily basis to 3Plus, which is our regional economic development agency, and we actually share workspace in the same building. So, and we both thought that there needed to be a little bit of leadership and cohesion around recovery. We can't just rely on the provincial government to tell us what to do and when to do it. So between our chamber and 3Plus, we gathered, you know, the 3 municipalities of Moncton, Dieppe, and Riverview. Then Sackville came on board, Chamber of Commerce in Shediac, ACOA, ONB, and Working NB, and then eventually the United Way in downtown Moncton. So we have all these stakeholders there that meet on a weekly call every Tuesday, and we have an agenda. We've developed a 4-phased economic recovery plan, and each of the stakeholders is responsible for a piece of that. So it gives a little bit of structure. It's not just crisis management anymore, it's actually planned. So it's been a really good communication tool, and as well as really seeing collaboration that have taken to a new level.
And I think that's so important. And, you know, for programs like ours at MBCC, you know, we've collaborated with you and 3Plus and ONB and all those folks that you mentioned. And sometimes we work with each other individually, but it's great to have those, you know, because there's having those connections, and there's certainly strength in numbers.
Yeah.
So moving forward for South, you know, for, you know, our friends in, you know, in the South and Moncton, I've always found Moncton to be quite a strong and vibrant community. What are your thoughts on moving forward, as, you know, as now our restrictions are lifted and we're moving forward, and summer's here, and it's going to be New Brunswickers for New Brunswick, and we'll have to, you know, share our wealth inside. What are your thoughts moving forward, and what are you seeing, and what's your hopes?
Right. I think a couple of things will emerge pretty quickly. One is this economic task force that we just talked about. We decided at our meeting today that we needed to do a bit of a deeper dive in the retail and service sector, which is so important to Moncton. You know, that a lot of people come here to shop, to, you know, that sort of thing. So we want to focus on that sector first, on economic recovery. And the second thing is around tourism. You know, we're about to enter the big season. You know, Moncton, Greater Moncton is snap dab in the middle of, you know, the Fundy Coast and the Cumberland Coast. So how do we help all those tourism operators in the next 4 or 5 months? And, you know, the whole point of the staycation model. And I think the chamber will probably play a role in helping with marketing of experiences. Maybe we try to get, you know, a hotel or B&B stay, a restaurant, and an experience, package that up, promote it to try to generate some extra cash.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I know for our show, this Oasis show, for the summer, we really want to focus on tourism as well, and really telling the stories of those privately owned, you know, tourist destinations, but, you know, tourism as a whole, but really want to look at that, because I think that's going to be so important for, you know, for us this, you know, moving toward the summer. Yeah. So what's going to happen with the chamber further down the road? You know, we always, you know, your Excellence Awards are one of the top events of the, you know, of the fall, and, you know, I know your golf tournament's big. Can we see some new kind of virtual type events, or will we see those business awards take a break?
Yeah, no, I think we want to continue with what we call some signature events. So we've tentatively booked a golf course for the end of August. Fingers crossed that we'll be able to play then. One of our other big events, which was new last year, was something called the Top 20 Under 40, where we celebrated young people who are doing great things. We want to continue that. We think that probably lends itself to a virtual experience because of it's a 20 to 40-year-old demographic. You know, they're at home there.
Yeah.
The Business Excellence Awards is probably my biggest worry right now, because obviously it's a huge generator of cash for us. As well. It's a signature event during the year. You know, last year we had 450 people there. People look forward to it. I think we're not sure yet what form that may take, but we'd kind of like to rebrand it a little bit and focus on business resilience as opposed to just business success, because I think that's what everyone is going to be thinking about as the year goes on.
Oh, and that's such a great point. And I think that would really add to just the continued celebration that event brings, right? It's all about celebration. So, you know, we're going to be needing a celebration by the end of 2020.
We are. Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, John. I know that you and I will be in close contact. Our Oasis program, our fingers are crossed that we'll be able to run a session in the fall. And I know that, you know, we'll be in close contact with you as you continue to put out information and as we continue to need the information. So I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to working with the Chamber in the future.
Well, I want to say that we really appreciate the support of Oasis and NBCC on various things. And so we look forward to whatever that next normal takes, and I'm sure we'll stay in contact.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.